opinions and views expressed here solely belong to the authors and do not necessarily reflect those of the Department of Defense, DoD, or its components. Any mention of commercial products or services does not imply DoD endorsement. Additionally, the presence of external hyperlinks does not signify DoD's approval of the linked websites or their contents, products, or services. IAW All Nav 24/25. Names and ship names changed for privacy and storytelling.
Hey guys, I'm Buddy. I'm an active duty CSS2, and somehow I got stuck doing this instead of meal prep. I didn't ask for the drama, but if I'm here, I'm telling it exactly like I see it.
Hey y'all, I'm Chantel, the Navy spouse who married into this mess. I absolutely hate drama, but unfortunately, the drama loves me. I've lived through the deployments, clocked the scandals, and honey, I definitely saved those receipts. If it's messy, I've got the full timeline.
Welcome aboard. I'm Danny, your trans troublemaker, chaos creator, and scandal-stained storyteller. With a flair for the forbidden, if it happened behind closed hatches or under the cover of night, I'm dragging it straight into the light.
And this is...
Deployed the drama.
Let's get started. Okay, so who wants to start first?
In all honesty, we started this podcast just because, we're bored. And on top of that, there's no podcasts that have to deal with the submarine side of things. So I want to bring, light and awareness and things that have helped me as a spouse deal with deployments and with my husband being in the silent service. I think it'll bring a lot of light to the world, I guess you could say.
To the issues that you felt, and
Yeah.
do you feel like if you had a podcast like this before or going into it, would it have helped you get those answers? Or
Yes and no, just for the simple fact that there are things that I do while my husband's deployed that may not help other spouses. So, yes, just because of the fact that, I'm always down for new tips and tricks. But at the same time, again, there are certain things that help me that may not help another spouse.
Okay. Well, so you kind of said, what the purpose of this is. Do you want to tell everybody a little bit about who you are?
All right, well, my name's Chantel. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have 3 boys, as of right now, ages 7, 4, and 2. One of them is autistic, so we do suffer with a disability in the family, and we do not love him any less. Actually, he makes everybody's day quite interesting, if I do say so myself.
Not interesting. Hard. Okay?
Hey, you leave our Satan alone, okay?
Hard. Okay? You makes it hard.
Like I said, I'm a stay-at-home mom. Before I got married to my husband, I was in the nursing field from 2017 to 2020. And then I became an exotic dancer as well in the year 2019.
I can officially say that the song I Fell in Love with a Stripper is real.
And what a cliche, a stripper and a military person.
A stripper and a sailor.
Sounds about
It's like they're destined to be together.
almost every movie that exists
Has a stripper and a sailor.
Okay. And did you want to talk about how you guys first met, or you want to glide over that?
Yeah, we can, absolutely. Back in 2018, 17 or 18, we found each other on TikTok.
Believe it or not, yes, we found each other on TikTok. I was stationed in Hawaii. I was bored in my barracks room doing absolutely nothing all day because that's kind of what I did in Hawaii. And I scrolled past her TikTok. She was doing a live stream, and we kind of talked for, I want to say, like 3 hours. And
We
then
became best friends for about 2 years, and then he got back from deployment and he went live, and as one does, as a sailor does, he was drunk, and he goes, "This is our song," and it was "I Swear" by John Michael Montgomery, and I was like, that is not a friendship song.
This is.
And we video chatted, and now we're married. Been married for damn near 5 years.
She was.
I haven't killed him yet.
Yeah, she plots how to kill me every day. It's okay.
So Danny, why did you want to start this podcast?
You know, I have always found myself different. One, I am overweight and it's really hard.
You're beautiful, bitch. Don't let anybody tell you differently.
It's really hard to find other people that I can relate to. So I listen to a lot of, storytelling podcasts, and I feel I'm very creative. And this is something that if I'm not working, do something positive with my creativity instead of doing something that's not gonna come of anything. Everybody wants to be the best of the best, and not saying I want to be the best of the best, but I'm not saying I don't want to be the best of the best. And doing this is a really great way to be that storyteller that I wanted to be.
Bring that side of you out that nobody sees, really.
Because, it's not like I hide it from you guys, but, your mom listened to the story yesterday and was like, really?
Why does she write short stories?
She was really shocked about that, so.
I was mocking your mom, not you.
You do realize my mom's now going to hear this, right?
That's okay. What's she gonna do, yell at me? She can't touch me. That's too quick. I'll just run away.
You don't make fun of her back, okay? It's not her fault.
So I'm not making fun of her back. I'm just making fun of the fact that I can run away and she cannot chase me.
Well, she will have.
She'll run me over, but
somebody else chase you.
He's not the love of your life. He's just a guy. Hit him with your car.
So, buddy, you mentioned a little bit ago, you were in Hawaii.
I was.
How did you come about to enlisting, and how's your past been in it?
Well, enlisting is a lovely story. So I was actually 20 years old when I enlisted the second time. The first time I enlisted into the Army, and that was definitely a huge mistake. Before I even got to go to MEPS, which is Military Entrance and Processing, for those who don't know, we at MEPS, you have to take an exam, the ASVAB, which is really easy if you're good at school.
Yeah, as I recall, that's something that they encourage regular high school students to take.
Yes, because not only does it show you where you can go into the military, but it can also show you future careers that you can get in the civilian world too. Because a lot of the jobs that we have in the military also can translate into the real world. So for me, right now, I am a cook on submarines. The submarines part don't mean much. It just tells people that I have a security clearance and I can do jobs that require that, like cook for the president, which is an option that we get. However, Most of the time, with a cook, you can walk into a 5-star restaurant and show them all of the stuff that you get in the Navy, and um, can make you look better. So, like, if I wanted to walk into Gordon Ramsay's restaurant, I could be one of his head chefs because of all of my experience and time in the Navy. Once I get out, I can use all of the credits that I get from working and turn that into an actual chef's degree, which I think is stupid, but
Now, were you kind of did you kind of pick this one, like being a CSS, or did you kind of get pushed into it because of your
Disability.
it's not a disability. It doesn't make me disabled. Um, being colorblind, you don't really get very many options. I had 3 options. I kind of chose the lesser of the 3 evils just because I like to cook. By itself, it's it interests me. I like the science behind cooking. However, I could either done desk work where I sit at a desk all day, or I could go and pick up parts for people and be a parts bitch where I literally run around all day picking up parts for other people, or I can be a cook and show the world, well, show people from different regions of the world how I cook, how I learned how to cook, and the different recipes that I have created on my own that I don't really share with people. At least how I make it. I'll let you eat it, but I'm not gonna tell you how I made it. Um, it's just one of those things that I like to do. I love to cook. I try and cook all the time. However, going back to your previous question, my path into the military and going to Hawaii. Once I left MEPS, I went to boot camp. Boot camp was not hard at all. It was super fucking easy.
For you?
For me, it's easy. For other people, it might be hard, but for me, it was super easy.
So, like, do you have any advice for somebody that may think boot camp is hard or they get intimidated by, you know,
Yelling and screaming all day? Yes. If you can not catch an attitude with your RDCs, recruit division commanders, the people who teach you how to be a sailor, don't get an attitude with them. That is definitely not a good idea. They will make you do push-ups and sit-ups and burpees until you cry. I've watched a couple of sailors do that. Just do what you're told and try and stay quiet. Stay under the radar.
do you feel that boot camp really helped you be prepared for your role or for, your first deployment?
No. So in boot camp, there's one thing I don't understand about boot camp is supposed to teach you how to be a sailor. However, in boot camp, they don't really teach you how to be a submariner. But most of the people who are teaching you there all are surface. They're not subs. So you're going through your entire boot camp learning how to be a surface sailor. And so when you go to the fleet, and you're on your first submarine, you literally have to pretty much forget 98% of what you learn in boot camp because it does not apply to the submarine force. So going submarines, you pretty much have to hope and pray that you know people who are submarines, or wait until you get to sub school to learn how to be a submarine person.
Submariner.
Yeah.
Submariner.
So, was your first station Hawaii?
Yes. So after school, which was in Virginia, it was like a 5-week school. They teach you how to cook. Well, they teach most people how to cook. If you already know how to cook when you go in, They will teach you things that you don't normally learn. Like they teach you how to quarter a chicken. Most people don't learn that. They teach you how to follow a recipe card. So if you've ever baked anything from a box and you read the instructions, you know how to follow a recipe card. It's really easy. Was the third highest scoring person in my class. The hardest part about being a cook, especially the school, is the math. If you're not good at math, it's gonna be difficult. But every rate is different. Every school for every rate is different. And your rate is your job for people who don't know. So it really just depends on your job for school wise. And then for me, I had to go to sub school, which most submariners who are going to submarines have to go to sub school, except for nukes. They don't have to go. Everybody else does. And submarine school is really easy. You learn how a submarine operates, you learn the history of submarines, and you get to learn different operating systems on the submarine. 98% of it is classified. There will be a lot of things that probably get asked by the viewers or by co-stars or even by Danny and Sean that I may or may not be able to answer. It just depends on if it's classified or not.
And of course, you'll tell us, no, I can't say that's classified. You won't just you leave everybody hanging.
No.
But how was Hawaii? Was it fun? Were you that Kawabonga? Whoa, let's go and surf those waves, dude. Like how was?
I loved Hawaii. Hawaii was great. I will say, like we said earlier, when me and Sean met, I was in Hawaii. I was single at that point.
Now, were you seeing
Weren't
multiple
you with
people?
Alex?
Not in Hawaii. That was in Washington. In Hawaii, I was single. And the only reason why I was single in Hawaii is because I never had a lot of time in port. I wasn't on land a lot. We were able to see a lot.
So what's the timeline of a deployment in Hawaii?
So deployments in Hawaii, 98% of them are fast attacks, which are small class of submarines that can move really quickly and get away from things really quickly. That's why they're called fast attacks. We can attack quickly, we can move quickly. And those can munch anywhere from a week to a year and a half. It just depends on what mission we're doing. I will say the boat that I was on, the USS Louisville, is decommissioned now, and there's a lot of things that they can tell you to stay away from. And
Walmart, it's expensive.
it's not really that bad. The prices that we pay right now is about what I paid in 2018 when I was in Hawaii. 2018, 2019.
I can't imagine what they are now. $20 for a pineapple? Could you imagine?
That would be ridiculous. I don't think it's that high. But when I was there, a gallon of milk was $5. And the reason why the cost of living in Hawaii is so expensive is because they have to import everything.
Did you have a vehicle before you went? Did you ship one over there? Did you buy one there? Like, how does it out?
So I bought a vehicle there just because I didn't have one when I left boot camp. And they do have dealerships there, yes. But they also have auction yards for sailors. So a lot of sailors who go over there and then they get orders to come back to the mainland, they just drop their car off at the auction lot and let it sell. And then they receive the money later. But you can definitely buy a car there. Most of the cars that you're going to buy there are definitely sand warm. They have a lot of sand damage done to them just because Hawaii is an island.
Okay, I did search it up. A pineapple is $4.88 over there. And here, it's $2.50.
Yeah. So it's about $2 more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Pearl City.
And the Pearl City's on Oahu.
What island were you? What island is the base on?
Oahu.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on Oahu. Honolulu is also on Oahu, which is the capital of Hawaii. When you fly into Oahu, you'll go through the airport. The first thing that happens to you as soon as you get off the plane and go through the little airplane terminal thing to get into the main building, there will be a stewardess there. I didn't get the experience of having them a luau skirt and coconuts. That wasn't for me. I didn't get that. I got a normal stewardess with a armful of lays, which is a necklace of flowers, and they're not fake.
So definitely not a resort experience.
No. So a lot of the movies show you walking off the plane, and there's a luau girl standing there with the hula skirt and the.
So Lilo and Stitch really isn't true.
No. Some of it is. Some of it is. Not all of it.
The tiki bars.
The tiki bars are true. 100%. There is actually a tiki bar there that has a wonderful drink. I don't remember what the name of the tiki bar is, but the drink is called the Lava Flow. It's a rum-based drink. They use fresh pineapples. They put them in a blender and blend them up really quick, really nicely, and then they throw a little bit of coconut in there. Then they pour rum, and then right before they hand it to you, they pour grenadine, strawberry grenadine, to be exact, on 3 different sides of the glass to make it look like lava is flowing down. It's really good, really tasty, really dangerous. You could probably drink like 12 of those and be plastered for the night. I don't know if you're Jurassic Park fans or not, but the Jurassic Park movies was shot on the island of Oahu, and the gate for the original Jurassic Park is still standing to this day. You can take and pay like $48, at least it was in 2019. It was like $48, and you can jump on a 4-wheeler and drive around everywhere that they shot scenes for that movie. It's really interesting, really fun.
So it's really good for tourists, but also like, yeah, you're working, but you have fun too.
You can't, yeah, as long as you have a day off, which everybody gets a day off at some point. You can go out and enjoy yourself. There is a bar I frequented quite often. It's called Whiskey Dick's. It's a country bar. It's one of 2 on the island. It's one of my favorite bars. I went there so much that the owner and the bartenders, the security guards, and the DJ all knew me by name. And I could walk in the door and the bartender would have my drink ready for me. That's how often I went.
Now, by name you mean buddy or government name?
They knew me by buddy. They didn't know me by my government name.
Mm.
I don't tell people my government name for a reason.
It's bad.
I love it.
It's 50-50. Some people love it, some people hate it. I absolutely fucking hate it, but I have a reason to hate it. And we're not gonna dive into that reason.
And that's why your children do not have that name either.
Right.
They're also
My choice.
They don't carry my last name either.
So you also mentioned about being in Washington. So that was your second station.
Technically, yes. It is my second station in the fleet. When they say station, it's everywhere we are in the Navy. Everywhere we get orders to in the Navy. So boot camp is a station. Virginia was a station.
So technically fourth station. Fifth station.
Fifth station. Washington would have technically been my 5th station. Washington's beautiful. Seattle's really nice. If you stay on the ferry side, the water side, don't go past the water side. So it starts getting sketchy.
You said Kitsap is known for kidnap.
Yes, so Kitsap County is known as Kidnap County, and the reason why is because they have the highest rate of kidnappings in the U.S. Right above New York. New York's pretty bad too, but Kitsap County's pretty bad. We didn't have that issue with ours, fortunately. We lived in Bremerton, Washington, in a apartment complex, which I do not recommend. Shitty fucking complex. But we lived there, and my drive to work was like 15 minutes. It didn't take me long to get to work. However, that drive into work was like I was looking at a laptop screensaver. It was that beautiful. The mountains. I have pictures, I think. I hope. If you are like me and miss all of summer and you're only there for the winter, it gets pretty depressing pretty quick. And it's just because Washington 98% of the year is covered in clouds. So you very rarely get to see the sun. And being on a submarine, you don't get to see the sun when you're out to sea anyway. So not coming home and not seeing the sun is also not fun. It rains a lot, so it's pretty gloomy. So you can get pretty depressed there. So I was fortunate enough to get off the ferry and go to walk towards my Uber that I had ordered. And as I was walking to my Uber, who parked next to the stadium, because they wanted to also see the Seattle Seahawks. They were walking off the bus and into the stadium. Where they were coming from, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. They were all in suits and really fancy clothing that I could never afford. But they definitely looked pretty snazzy going into the stadium. That was interesting.
So speaking of affording, now you're here in Kings Bay.
Trash. I hated your.
They do call it the career enter for a reason.
They do. This base has been known to end people's careers, whether that be through retiring or even just getting out because you don't want to be in anymore. The work schedule here is worse than any base that I've ever seen.
So at other places, you could qualify saying, you had a part-time job in the Navy. But here, it's overtime, 40 hours plus.
So there's actually a instruction that was put out 2 years ago that we are required to not get more than 40 hours in a week. President Trump actually pushed that his first term. So I guess it was over 4 years ago. But he had pushed for that where we couldn't get more than 40 hours in a week. A lot of us still do. There's not much we can do about it. We can't just go to our chain of command and go, hey, I'm working more than 40 hours a week. I need to take time off. Because they're just going to tell us that we get time off. Which we do. We get time off. It's just not a lot.
So, okay, you've talked for a very long time. Yes. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, let's see.
Sorry, we built a Lego set of Harry Potter, and they have wands. They're really tiny.
I see.
They're great though.
So that was kind of, good introduction of Buddy and Sean, and I am
More so Buddy than me.
well, yeah, he talked and he has a problem. Not diagnosed yet, obviously, because he'd be in a mental asylum. So
True. The reason I talked so much is because you had questions that you wanted answered, so I was answering those questions.
And you went into depth.
you could have been, yes, no, well, actually, blah blah blah.
You wanted to know, so I was telling you.
Besides that, so I'm Danny, of course. I grew up with a mostly single mother. It was really hard. Always poor.
Feel that.
Moved from Texas and California several times.
Well, that was dull.
We didn't say where we were from either.
And should I not say that?
You can. We just did.
We forgot.
But you said you were in Hawaii and you were in Washington and Bremerton and you would go to Seattle all the time. And
That's not where I'm from, though.
well, we can get into that if you want.
Yeah, we can.
So I grew up with a single mother. I have a little brother. He is in high school right now, and my mom finally settled down with someone in California, and he's been a pretty good stepdad. Really takes care of her and my brother. She had a few crash outs. She had a problem with drugs. I met Chantal and Buddy through a friend.
Who is no longer a friend.
Who is no longer a friend.
For the best, I promise.
And it was a long-term friendship that, I mean, realizing, what happened and what was going on, it was a very one-sided friendship. But if I wasn't friends with her, I wouldn't have came out here and met Chantal and Buddy for the first time. So that I am grateful for being a friend with her about. Yeah. I lived with Chantal and Buddy for a little while. I went to Texas for a while, moved back to California with my mom, and came back. And went back to California and then came back. So if that doesn't say something, them letting me live with them for 3 years, I know 3 times in 3 years, I don't know what you would say other than we're pretty much family now.
Absolutely.
And
That's pretty much family.
It even got to the point where our 5-year, mine and my husband, Buddy, our 5 years coming up this year, and my husband is going back to a boat, and we knew that he would be on sea duty for our wedding anniversary. So normally you would, renew your vows 5 years in.
If you choose to.
If you choose to. And we decided, since we didn't actually have a wedding, that we would do it, at our 5 years. But unfortunately, on our 5 years, my husband will be, out to sea and stuff like that. So we decided to do our vow renewal, and Danny even drove to come up and be a part of our day.
I was there for about a week, and I will say your mother's couches were beautiful, but they are not comfortable. Especially when you're in the living room sleeping next to Chantal and Betty, and they have to have Family Guy on to fall asleep.
Correction. Chantel has to have Family Guy on to fall asleep. I can fall asleep without... Oh, I can fall asleep with the light on, but that's part of being in the Navy.
You can fall asleep standing up.
That is also true.
So Chantel is from
Nebraska.
And she is the definition of
Nebraska. No, she's the definition of Nebraska. She will drink ranch out of the bottle. And eat lard every other meal.
I love ranch. I love corn. That's literally a Nebraska thing. If you're from Nebraska, you know that there's only 2 really, 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 really good places to get the best ranch ever, and that is Runza or Amigos.
Now, do they have them everywhere in Nebraska or just Lincoln? Now, Lincoln is...
Runza's and Amigos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know there's Runza and Seward, but...
Yeah. They have Runzas and Amigos everywhere in Nebraska. I mean, obviously the the smaller towns don't. Like the one I grew up in, we have 2 bars. But
That checks. What else are you gonna do? Go stand in a cornfield and drink UV blue?
shut up.
jump off of bridges with no tank tops.
Hey.
Those swimsuit tops.
Okay. And Buddy is from
I am from Texas, the greatest country in the United States.
the reddest in the United States. Small town too. Well, I don't know. Do you want to call it a small town? As small as Sean's?
Mine's smaller.
Okay.
By 30 people.
Okay. Okay. So
We should talk a little bit about where we're from.
Yeah, so because I've moved a lot growing up, there's only realistically been two places that have been like home. Um, the Rio Grande Valley in Texas. I grew up in McAllen and Westlaco. That's like right on the border to Mexico. Go to Mexico on the weekend, get your nails done, tacos, kind of a thing. Very Mexican. California. Now I will say the same thing. California, I would say I lived in a very small town and it's called New London. And it was, I would say, probably as small as Garland. But it was very trailer houses everywhere, kind of like Garland was. But there's one convenience store and you would drive the 15 minutes to get to the town over Visalia. That is the San Joaquin Valley. Now, if you have any idea, that is where the oranges are for the Mexicans. And the Mexicans, my family kind of came from Mexico and migrated up in Texas and would migrate to California for work. So my grandparents settled down in California. And the only reason why we kept going back to Texas is because my aunt married into the town over in Mexico's family. So they grew up together. They married each other and they settled there in Texas. So when my mom had a problem, we moved to one aunt or the other aunt. So I kind of spilled its Garland. You want to talk now?
So I am from Nebraska, a very, very, very small town called Garland. When I was growing up, there was 237 people in it. I did my research, and the population has gone down to 208. We have the co-op, 2 grain bins. We got 2 bars and a fire department, like in a park. That's what we got. We got gas pumps too. We got 2 gas pumps. That's it. When I first met Danny, I was telling him like I'm a country girl from Nebraska. Like to get in and out of my town is pretty much a damn gravel road. And Danny will admit he did not believe me until he came up, and I am surrounded by cornfields and gravel roads. I'll go ahead and bite the bullet and straight up be honest. Like, I grew up in a trailer. I am trailer trash. Yes, I don't give a damn. You know what? I had a roof over my head. I had food in my stomach. I had loving parents. That's what really matters. There's what we do in Nebraska, like on weekends, is we go out to a place called Wildwood. We jump off the bridges in the summertime and into water, obviously, and we drink. That's what we do.
Some cornfields.
And get lost in cornfields. Yep. But we do have Runza and Amigos, which I'm pretty sure is just a Nebraska thing. And if you ever go through Nebraska, get it. I promise you, you will not regret it. I love it. And another thing for Nebraska is, and a lot of y'all are going to be like, that's disgusting. Do not knock it until you try it. Chili and cinnamon rolls.
Disgusting.
Chili and cinnamon rolls. Do not knock it till you try it. It is one of the best combinations in the entire world. And oh my God.
It's disgusting.
Okay, well, Mr. Disgusting, you are from...
I am from Zephyr, Texas. Also a small town. We had, in the town of Zephyr, we have a school, which is kind of cool. And then we have a gas station / restaurant.
Ooh, they make the best tacos.
They do. They make really good tacos. Everything they make there is from scratch. Their onion rings are from scratch. Their cornbread's from scratch. Their flour tortillas are from scratch.
So you're more of a cornbread and chili kind of guy.
Yeah, 100%.
Not a cinnamon rolls and chili.
Cinnamon and chili is the way to go.
Pretty much. I think we also had a bar at one point. They don't know more. The owner died and they moved. So the bar's no longer there. But I did do some research a few minutes ago. We are currently sitting at a population of 295 people. So we are 87 people ahead of you now. Still a small town. Especially considering the towns in the state of Texas, that's a small town.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So
Houston, Denton,
like over there in Texas, I went to a high school with a graduating class of at least 5,000. And in California, I had a graduating class of at least 5,000. Now, that's just the one school in that city.
But you graduated from a big school, though, compared to me and Buddy.
So, exactly. So the actual city's graduation class was about 13,000 my senior year in California.
Jeez.
So
I went to a small school and I had the biggest class to graduate, and we had 47 people.
Oh, that's nice. I graduated with the biggest class in 2016 with a whopping 26 students.
oh, that's right. I forget. You guys are colder than me.
You graduated in 2014.
I graduated in 2016. Supposed to graduate 2014 or 2015, but whatever.
I graduated in 2020. I didn't have a graduation. I had a slideshow on the website of the district. So that was
You probably
nice.
graduated during COVID.
Yes, I did.
I had a kid in 2020.
They closed the schools in March, and I graduated in May.
I had in 2020, I had a baby. And when my baby turned 3 months old, my oldest turned 3 years old.
We also got married in 2020.
That too.
Obviously, not as important as having a child.
Well,
Facts.
And a child turning 3 at the same time.
no, I'm just saying, like, for time frame or time reference.
Yeah, 2020 was eventful now.
She had 2 kids and got married. Can't tell the time difference. The age difference.
Yes. You're 55. Yeah.
Listen. I may look 55, but my driver's license says I'm 27.
It's obviously a fake ID.
Hey, listen. They ain't gonna know that.
And if you can't get it by the picture on the podcast, because he does have a hat on his head, Buddy is bald.
It's genetic. I didn't have a choice.
Yeah, we've seen your biological father, and it does not look good for you.
I like a look.
You might need surgery. And so do your children.
I'll pay for it.
Correction, child.
Hey!
You gonna pay for it?
Probably if this
My visitor double bubble bubble butt
Hey,
is handsome as hell. He don't need surgery.
be nice to Kavanaugh.
You know, I love Kavanaugh's, but I do not like those ears.
Hey, he'll grow into it
Because
eventually.
He has the cutest ears. And oh my god, his face is so cute. And oh, I just want to squeeze him. But unfortunately, he is sleeping right now. So we need to keep it down a little bit.
Yeah, quit yelling.
I'm sorry.
so,
But we also love, Wayne. And then we also love Rylan.
Yep.
And Rylan is the one that has autism. And ODD. And if nobody knows what that is, it's oppositional defiance disorder.
he will punch you like a grown ass man.
That man has fought me. Well, he locked himself in the bathroom the other day, and I unlocked it because I was like, hey, do you need to go potty? And he's like, yeah. So he runs his little booty into that bathroom, locks the door. I unlock it. He looks me dead in my face and punches me dead in my stomach. I was so mad. I was like, no, sir.
So,
And then freaking Kavanaugh's over here, just his little giggle, like, hee, Bubba punched mommy. Bubba punched mommy.
so now that we've kind of gone over who we are, well,
And Buddy has done most of the talking.
I'm in between jobs, you could say. I start a new job soon, and I'm very excited because it's here in town and I'm making a lot of money. But now that you know who we are, what we do,
I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I'm getting my real estate license.
fun. She's scared she's gonna fail her test.
I
She
am.
thinks she's dumb.
I am.
You're not. So we kind of said why we did this, but now we're gonna get into what we are doing on here. We do have a few segments that we'll go over. We're still workshopping a name for Chantel's segment.
All of my segments.
And basically it's just gonna be, we are gonna do Barracks or bullshit. I'm sure you guys have probably heard it on other places or seen it somewhere. If not, basically it's, we give a scenario and we kind of rate if it happened in the barracks or we think it's bullshit. We also are going to be doing Scuttlebutt. How do you explain what that is?
So scuttlebutt is rumors. That's literally the definition of scuttlebutt. It's a rumor. So we're going to be taking rumors that we have heard and going to be proving if they're right or wrong. Most of them are probably going to be wrong, but that's kind of what a rumor is. It's false information. But if it is correct, if it is true, then we will also explain what it is.
So like an example, you guys have great benefits.
False.
Well, false. 110%.
Yes, if you are on Prime as an active duty member,
It's decent.
you don't pay for anything. If you are on Prime as a spouse, then you have co-pays for certain things, and you are limited on what you can and cannot do.
Okay, so we also do kind of along with the Scuttlebutt, Buddy kind of does a hot topic. Now that's usually kind of what we're gonna name the episode. Trigger warning could be about suicide or could be about harassment, hazing. It could be about pretty much anything.
Could be upcoming wars that may or may not happen. It just depends. It really depends on whatever is big in the news for the military.
Now, you guys read, you have like a debrief that you read kind of on, you said some kind of website. What is it called?
It's Stars and Stripes.
So you can kind of,
Newsletter.
it's kind of like reviewing it. It's kind of like a Stars and Stripes kind of segment, the hot topic, what's going on.
Pretty much. So I'm going to get my information from there to start with, and then like if there are any naval instructions that are coming out, I will find those and then explain them in non-military words for those who are in the military but don't understand military phrasing, or for military spouses who don't understand military phrasing but want to know so they can help their spouse.
So you're basically teaching us vocabulary words.
No, not really. It's more of like,
Where are the flashcards? I need Quizlet, okay?
it's more like if in the instruction they use an acronym, I can explain what the acronym is. Like in our disclaimer, we have IAW, which is in accordance with, or ALNAV, which is all Navy instruction. It's to break it down so it makes more sense for those who don't deal with those words all the time.
So Chantel's gonna have like one or two segments. You know, we are still workshopping those names. But basically it's like a tips and tricks and advice, you know.
Yeah,
so-
absolutely. So like I said at the beginning, it's going to be like
it's only going to be like 1 or 2 little tips or tricks every podcast because for me, I've only been doing this 5 years, so there's not a whole lot that I have learned how to deal with it. But it's going to be, tips and tricks that have helped me and advice that I can give any, newcomer or whatever it may be.
Like, I wish I would have known.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I will have a storytelling segment.
I will also have a storytelling segment about, yeah, it'll be it's going to be tea time on about the horror stories and the drama on the military spouse side of things, like the drama. And because like I said, I got a whole timeline, and you best remember I kept those receipts.
My storytelling is going to be more, it's called Beneath the Wave. It's more like stories that have actually happened, more like a true crime. Usually I'll have we'll do a short story, like if we need to take a break. And I'll have a longer story that's kind of like all of us, and you guys kind of listen to the story while I'm reading it to you guys instead of a pre-recorded story. But that's pretty much the podcast. I mean, we plan on having guests and, friends come on and other active duty members. So that's something that we look forward to in the future.
Some of those guests may be through phone calls. They may be here in person. Either way, we will hear their point of view, and may or may not get in arguments with them. Just depends on how they view things, because naval instructions are very set in stone. If you break them, you can get in a lot of trouble.
And you would know.
Yeah. Granted, I've never been to mast, but
He's gotten a few castling shits in his day.
only 46 in my entire naval career.
You liar.
Nope, that's 46
46 counseling chits?
in my entire naval career. Yes.
She's Louise.
Been in for 7 years, so that's roughly 6 a year,
Speaking of,
7 a year.
I think we're gonna have to redo this entire thing
Why?
because I feel like it's all over the place. I feel like we need to write a script.
Maybe cut some sections of Buddy out. For sure. Very long.
You wanted 40 minutes. I was trying to give you 40.
We have an hour.
Good.
Give me just,
We have over our time.
Damn, that's like 40 minutes of just you speaking.
I don't think it was 40. No, it's more like just 15, 20 minutes now talking. But, yeah.
Which obviously you can cut some of it out. Like, it's not a big deal. It just, as long as the point gets across, that's the big thing.
Now, as far as scheduling goes, I would like to do something at least bi-weekly.
Or even weekly.
I would say we can start bi-weekly because I am starting a new job and I don't know what my hours are yet. It's not like it's hard to sit here for an hour and just talk. You know what I mean? Look at how we just did it today. The next episodes are going to be more structured, best because we actually know what we're doing. We had talked about, we do, the intro comes in, Scuttlebutt, Chantel, Beneath the Wave, Bullshit or Barracks, Buddy's Hot Topic, Scuttlebutt, recap, end it. That's 40 minutes, 60 minutes. So that's pretty done because the first 3 episodes are kind of gonna be hard just because it's breaking the ice. Yep. You know what I mean?
It just depends on what the topic is. So, like, if there's something happening overseas that we possibly will be going into, that's going to be the topic of the week because that's important. People need to know about it. I think my first one is going to be China's 100-year plan. You don't like to say China's in the title. It used to be the 100-year plan.
The Chinese plans.
Chinese plans for war.
Chinese leak their weed. Stolen Chinese secrets. I'll go to jail for that.